we have picnics, we write about it. I'm sure there's music written about it. There's sports events held annually, way into the park, long history of them. The Millennium, for instance, there's a beacon lit on the top of the Wrekin. Culturally, it's very important locally. Economic future of the Wrekin Forest. The countryside supports itself because it is functional, i.e. it grows stuff, or it makes stuff. And its surplus that makes from all those productive economic activities, it pays for clipping the hedges, planting new woods, looking after the tracks and byways that are in there. Because for instance, our rights of way, the highway department are responsible for that little bit, and the rest of it around it is the responsibility of the landowner, whoever that might be. Now, if they're not running a viable enterprise, a rural enterprise, or whatever sort it is, they're not going to look after that bit. So the bits that me as a walk of value, i.e. the new bit of woodland in a corner, or the vista that farms kindly opened up so I can see the Wrekin from an unusual point of view, they won't happen. So I'll give you an example. For example, in South Shropshire, productive farming is in lots of cases quite marginal. What tends to happen for far too many cases, the farm stops functioning as a farm. Somebody lives in the house, and then the farmland around it stops working. So you get a disjunction, this breakage between traditional ways of working the land and relationships, and they change. I think we need to avoid that in the Wrekin Forest. It should continue to be an agricultural area. It should continue to be an area with productive, rich woodlands. So economically, it does need to work. Productive biodiversity. Practical partnerships. One of the first comments I got was, you're going to create loads and loads of talking shops. Okay. I've been to a number of talking shops once, just to see what they're all about. We need to avoid that again. So hopefully the initiatives that we list are practical ones that actually are about doing something. Unique values. So a lot of the things that we tried to explore is what makes the Wrekin special. Okay, it's not the highest hill in Shropshire, it's the 8th highest, but it is the steepest in its surface area. It's a big, steep hill, very distinctive hill. It's coined all sorts of terms around the Wrekin, all those sort of things. Promote understanding and positive involvement. So we have a volunteer scheme running for assessment every Friday, and we're positively involved in looking after our patch. And that's not just about planting hedgerow plants. We actually litter pick, particularly around sort of Forest Glen, sort of prone to litter picking. Actively reporting fly tipping instances. There is a hotline you can ring at the council to report those things. And say, promoting positive involvement in the countryside. High quality visitor provision for local people. There was a visitor survey done in 2005, and I think nearly 70% of the people who visit and use the Wrekin Forest come from Telford and Wellington. So this isn't about creating an international tourist destination. It's actually making sure that when we drive 5 minutes from here, from Wellington, to go take our Sunday walk or our evening wander or our before sort of morning work run, that we arrive at somewhere that's a good place to be and it's attractive and well cared for. Until recently, from 79 onwards, the Forest Glen wasn't a good place to fetch up for your Sunday constitutional. And so recently started to get better, and I think the car park improvements are only the first stage in some sympathetic developments there. Okay. Right, a little bit of background. The Wrekin Forest, we chose that quite deliberately, and George Evans will agree with us, it's the right title for it. It isn't just about the hill, it's about the countryside that surrounds it. And until about the sort of late 1200s, it was a medieval royal hunting forest, and it extended from Albrighton all the way to Shifnal, all the way nearly up to Newport, and nearly all the way down to Bridgnorth. Big area. Now, forest is with a big F, so it's a mixture of woodlands, open fields, mixture of sort of damp patches. It applied to a series of laws, so forest law. And those laws were introduced to regulate the use of the countryside. And mainly it's in terms of preservation of game and hunting rights. But it was also related to laws regarding the collection of timber and who owned which bit and who could have it. It also related to ownership patterns. So in one sense, the medieval forest law was one of the first early conservation laws passed. And they were about conserving the landscape to serve a function. And as I say, in that case, it was preserving it as a rich and bountiful hunting ground. The Wrekin Hill is a key feature of the landscape, dominates it in lots of ways. Behind it, it's there, isn't it? We're looking from Cressid here. We have the little Wenlock Plateau. It's a very different environment, but it's got quite an incredible mixture of restored open cast fields. It's only when you're told what they are, you start to see the differences in the landscape. There's a long industrial history, there's coal mining, limestone mining, quarrying. The Dingle Woodlands. From here, we've got the River Severn before us, there's a whole series of very deeply cut valleys that run down to the river. These dingle valleys are dark, deep, the trees tend to grow tall and straight, so the actual geology is exposed at the bottom mainly, so they're quite useful in that respect. And also they're very interesting for their mosses, little worts, invertebrates, all the insects that like those particular habitats. But there's about, I think there's over 7 of these dingles running all the way down to the Severn, starting from sort of the Uppington side. Very complex geology. It's rather like a child's gone mad with a box of crayons when you get to that bit of the geological map. Fascinating history, and it's a much like corner of Shropshire. So it's actually been really quite easy